All right, as expected, people have started turning up for this much awaited webinar. We have also termed it as the must attend webinar, and rightly so, because those who have registered themselves, the teams which has registered themselves for this particular challenge this year, JSW Challenge 2023, I beg your pardon, are definitely going to be stoked about what is going to happen in the next 1 hour in this particular webinar. So right now in front of me, I have these three people who are going to take you through not just their journey, but as to what your journey needs to be in order for you to actually be successful, in order to win this competition and win the hearts of a lot of people who probably have worked on the cases as well. Nikhil, who is here, probably has also worked on this case because he has a long lasting body of work when it comes to sustainability and technology. Welcome, Nikhil. Welcome to this particular webinar. Really happy to have you here. If you can just give your a brief introduction to our audience as to who you are and what are we doing here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Hi, hello, everyone. I am Nikhil Kulkarni. I'm currently working at JSW as a lead of digital energy and sustainability CoE. So really a great spot to be in, because looking at energy and sustainability, because it's something that's futuristic. I am in my current role, I look after various sustainability and energy related intervention from digital standpoint, work very closely with various stakeholders across the business vertical, and get to learn and do a lot of interesting stuff. By background, I'm a petroleum engineer, did it in 2009 from MIT Pune, then did MBA from IIT Bombay and Washington University at St. Louis, Olim Business School, a joint program. On career side, I've been working in oil and gas, and then energy, and then eventually sustainability for around 14, 15 years now, and worked for some energy companies, worked for some startups, Shell. Before coming here, I was working for Wipro, and now with JSW. So have a diverse experience, and I believe I'm hopeful that I would be able to share some more light on what all different technologies are and what we are looking for from this case study.
Absolutely. I'm sure that people are looking forward to what you have to say, Nikhil, here. And people are also looking forward to hearing stories of what MDs like Jyotsna and Ayaz also have to say, because that's where they probably will be once they get into JSW. Before we move to the brief introduction of both these guys, I want to just tell our audience, as they have already started to make their presence felt, do write in which B school you are from and how excited are you for this particular webinar, and feel free to ask questions because this is your chance, guys. Okay, moving on, Jyotsna, if you can briefly tell us about yourself, and then we move to Az.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Hello, everyone. Jyotsna this side. So my journey has been quite diverse, not as diverse as Nikhil's, but yes. So I did diploma in electronics engineering just after 10th. So, and after that, I have done my BTech from electronics and communication engineering. And soon after that, I've been taking an internship job in a university. So I've been there a guest lecturer for 1.5 years. And then I got into BSNL as junior engineer, so in government entrance exam. And then I got to know about FMS, and I quite, it became my dream college. So I wanted to do MBA. So I prepared for CAT and got into FMS after that. And in my summer placement, I got the chance to intern with JSW, and I was working for I've been given a task to, do analytics for sales and operations planning for JSW Steel Vijayanagar works. So that was a quite, extensive project there. And through, careful process and everything, I got, offered PPO. So just after completing my MBA, I got into JSW. Firstly, I was there in JSW Paints handling co-sales in Bangalore unit. And then I got the chance to be with the digital and ID solutions team. So now I'm here.
Super. Thank you very much for that intro. Jyotsna, Ayaz, I'll move to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Paul. My journey started, I was a mechanical engineer. I pursued my mechanical engineering from NIT Durgapur. And then I got a chance to work with an automotive firm in the research and development department of that. So I worked there for 3 years. Post that, I appeared for CAT and I got MDI Gurgaon in the human resources. At MDI, I got a chance to intern with JSW Steel. I was given 2 projects. One was on diversity and inclusion, and the other was on HR digitalization. It was a very, it was COVID hit scenario at that point of time, 2021. COVID was at its peak, tough times, but somehow managed to, grab a PPO at JSW. And for the last 17 months, I've been at JSW Steel. I'm currently based in Vijayanagar, JSW Steel Vijayanagar plant. It's, for those who don't know, it's one of the biggest integrated plant in India. Right now at 12 MTPA, soon to be 18 and then 24, and it will be the biggest steel plant of the world. So currently I'm managing the talent management section. We are a team that is driving initiatives in the field of talent management, development, and organizational effectiveness. So the journey has been really great so far. So that's about it. Thank you.
Super. Glad to have all of you here. Hope that we have an interesting chat today in this afternoon, in this evening rather. Those who have not taken part in the JSW challenge and accidentally have landed up in this particular webinar on our channel, do check the link out in the comments and in the description. Take part in the JSW challenge, and probably this webinar will make more sense to you, and you will use this particular hour to know more about JSW and its practices. All right, Nikhil, I'll go straight to you. Let's first talk about what is this case about? What have you designed? Why do you think that it is important in the scheme of things currently?
Yes, thank you, Paul. As everybody knows, the whole world is talking about sustainability. There are many diverse aspects to it. There are many. So sustainability in itself is a very vast and wide thing. We at JSW, we are taking the sustainability aspect very seriously. Every project and every plant, every individual is some or other way directly or indirectly involved in sustainability. So we don't go anywhere. So we have our own frameworks and metrics to make sure that we are reaching there. Sustainability, in fact, it's a very good way to make sure that you're profitable in your business. So what happens is, so JSW is a very big conglomerate. It's one of the leading conglomerates, one of the biggest, most growing companies in the country. What happens here is most of our businesses, take steel or cement or infra paints. Here you have, if you have to do any investment or if you have to increase your capacity, you need to, right from the first thought of increasing capacity to actual commissioning of the particular plant or blast furnace, for example, it might take anywhere from 8 to 10 years or more than that, because a lot of aspects, right from compliances, regulatory to land acquisition, everything comes in, and then integrating with your existing facilities. So when you're looking holistically at the business, it's very important that you have a lens of optimizing your operations. So sustainability, of course, is one aspect which is driven by the environment control and so on. However, it also emphasizes a lot on making sure that your processes are in right direction. So if you use or implement sustainability principles and guidelines in the right way, you are going to make much more benefits and profitability in your business. You go anywhere and you realize that sustainability directly contributes to your in fact top line. Same goes with digital, right? So digital is something that enables. So we are all the projects are working there. However, digital is something that enables a lot of projects that are happening out there. These are the interventions which support and enable our folks on the ground making sure that they are able to deliver in a better way. So somebody who has been writing reports and collecting data for 3 months and not getting jobs, not getting time to think and implement, that person starts getting some space, breathing space in to look into that direction. So these are the two different things. It might sound two different things, however, they are one and the same. So when you start approaching anything, if you look at it structurally, you would always have some conclusive decisions. So that's the holistic approach or thought behind putting this thing together. Now going into sustainability, I would like to share one thing. Sustainability, there is a difference between sustainability and environment. People often think that okay, now it's a new name. It's not the case. There is a very big difference. Environment is a part of sustainability, right? So when you say ESG, there is a definite environment, social, and governance. So now I would expect everybody to go do some deep dive. What are different things? So if you Google, the first definition that you'd see is what you have, transmitting it to your next generations, coming generations. What was given to you by your previous generations, you use it and let the next generation have their own share. So these are the things that we are looking at. At JSW, we are very committed. We have floated our green bonds in the market. So we are very serious when it comes to sustainability. We have to make sure that we are achieving those targets, and it's top driven. So our honorable CMD, right from his level, every project is being evaluated where we are headed. Is sustainability is integral part of it or not? So people out here are quite serious about looking at it. So at our offices, very simple things. So right from simple things like not having plastic in office to looking holistically in reducing or going towards green steel, all the different aspects are being considered. With that, I would take a pause, but yeah.
Super. Nikhil, one thing that stood out when you were saying this is that if you are imposing sustainable practices, you said that you can actually double down on your revenue or increase the revenue. And the idea that we usually have is if at all you have to make changes and make things sustainable as a practice, it's going to be a cost center for a company. That's usually what we think, right? So if I have to ask you very particularly, can you give me an example as to what are some of the things that you probably have done that has rather reduced the cost when you actually thought about it sustainably?
That's a very good question, Paul. I'll tell you what. I see. I'm digital and I'm sustainability, so I am double cost center, right? If you look from that perspective. Right. So I have to make sure. So coming from consulting and services background, I need to justify my cost as well to the company. Yeah. So that was of course on a lighter note. But yeah, if you think from the cost center and business perspective, I can give you one very nice example of optimizing your gas network. So like Ayaz mentioned about one of the plants. So we have big plants. So it happens to be the second largest integrated steel plant in Asia. Yeah. So if you consider all the units, right from steel, then energy, and then cement and paints, all the adjoining unit, from one end to other end, the longest point might be somewhere around 30-40 kilometers. Maybe this don't hold for this number, of course, but yeah, maybe it's that massive. So it's as big as a city. So we have, say, for example, gas network in there. So if we optimize our gas consumption, so all the steel plants do produce gas and consume the gas as well to make energy out of it. So if I'm burning gas and flaring it, I'm wasting money, right? But from sustainability standpoint, if I implement some intervention to reduce or optimize my gas in such a way that 100% of gas is getting internally consumed, hey, I am adding to the bottom line, right? The top line, in fact, because I'm reducing now. Yeah, I'm adding to the bottom line, right? Because I'm reducing on my expenditure significantly. And and then all the companies, then you have your gas commitment. So whatever gas gets generated, you have external commitments. You will be supplying it to some adjoining companies or next companies, so on. So that's your top line, because now again you're optimizing your gas. Instead of letting it go in thin air, you are now making it work for your balance sheet, and on top of it, you are not harming the environment as well. So it's completely end-to-end solution. There are different approaches. That's why if you see in the problem statement, I have mentioned a couple of things that, for example, again, one more example I can give is of scrap metal, which I exactly have given in the case study as well. So I would like to take an opportunity to explain that problem. So we have long lines where we are continuously creating, say, for example, steel rolls. Yeah. So at certain point you have to cut, and then there are some edges which may go here and there. You change your material. There might be some error, some material, and then you also, if you have manual processes, then the sizes or the cuts might vary. But if you implement digital technology, there are two things that you do. First, you optimize the cut in such a way that you reduce your waste, or you minimize your waste as much as possible. Of course, we are already recycling whatever waste, if there are anything that comes out, we again recycle it, and everybody does that, right? So in that way, if you reduce the waste in the primary phase itself, now you are reducing a lot of things. So there are indirect impact. So, you always read about multiplier effect, right, in your MBA. So this is one place where you would see the multiplier effect. So if you reduce your waste, it means, because while you're processing, there is a lot of energy that goes in. There is water, there is power that needs to be put in, that gets consumed in manufacturing or producing that steel, right? So now if you optimize your waste generation, if you reduce it, and you're optimizing your energy consumption, your water consumption, your gases, steam, and other aspects as well immediately, right? That's a very first thing.
Super, Nikhil, thank you very much. That was pretty in depth. And connected is something that I want to ask you before I move to Jyotsna. Very in very succinct points, if you can tell me, how is digital being included in all this process? So you gave me an example, but if you can simplify it and tell me that, in a particular plant, using digital, this is the change that you probably are trying to bring.
Thank you. That's again a good question, Paul. Building on the same example of reducing waste. So consider now, previously manual interventions were there for doing all the cuts. They were so right from safety hazards to increase in waste, all of these things were there. Again, you have limited manpower, so manpower management becomes a challenge. So now what we are doing is we are using some high-end technology. We are using digital technologies so that so as simple as taking a cut on a long sheet, that where that cut needs to be, what shape it needs to be given. So all of these things are taken care or are happening using digital technology, simple intervention. So there is AI ML models in the background, robotics in the background, and whatever gets generated, again, all the analytics is getting generated in the background at how the process was. So the whole thing or getting integrated and is getting simplified because of the hardcore digital interventions.
Super, great. And digital reminds me that Jyotsna itself is in sales, IT, and digital solutions. How digital is your role now, Jyotsna? I know for a fact that your time here at JSW started with your sales stint, and this is something that you are probably doing right now. You're placed in Bombay. How much of a change do you see, and how interesting is it for you?
Okay, so Paul, transitioning from a sales role to a digital role is indeed a significant change for me. So there, if I talk about sales, we have to have the on-ground work, right? Understanding customer, know the product portfolio by heart, and giving certain solutions, customizing them, pitching ideas and getting them onboarded. So all these things are on ground, and it's all about the people and relationship building, right? If I talk about the digital role, that core principle of customer understanding the customer needs, and delivering the value are the same. But the day-to-day work, right? If I talk about digital role, is quite different, right? Or where we have to find out the touch points of the customer journey, or maybe internal stakeholders, digital way of doing things, right? So all these solutions we have to find out so that we can deliver value. The purpose of both roles, if I talk about sales and digital, are same, right? We have to enhance our customer experience, we have to enhance our way of doing things, we have to engage the efficiency, productivity among the team members or all the business functions. So this is how it works. So yeah, the value delivered and the principles are same, but yeah, day-to-day work, that's quite different. And all the challenges are also there, right? Because we don't have everything synchronized as per our need, because digital, it's all about data. If you have any weekend data, or you have inconsistency among the data sources itself, right? So it's going to be a harder for you. So I think that's the biggest challenge, and a lot of opportunities there, because that's how we start delivering value, and I would say a lot of productivity and enhancing time.
Absolutely. And challenges do bring opportunities, and who else would know this better than us? As you were telling me that it was pretty challenging during the COVID times when you joined in here, and then, uh, are now in probably one of the biggest plants possible when it comes to JSW. In terms of, managing things digitally there as well, how much has happened in terms of the company that you're working in, and what is the overall culture like at JSW in terms of uh, acclimatizing themselves to the new changes that are taking place?
So as you asked about how the digital culture is right now, the digitalization aspect, so we are pretty much moving fastly in terms of digitalizing all the processes that were earlier manual, the transactional part of HR. So we are trying to, we have in most of the cases, we have translated into a digital form, and that has improved the productivity and efficiency of the employees and manpower. In terms of culture of JSW and of the work culture, I would say, we as an organization believe in our 5 core values. That is courage, collaboration, compassion, commitment, and agility. And I think the values explain itself. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of it, but from a personal standpoint, my understanding of the culture, the work culture, is that you'll get a lot of opportunities here at JSW to solve real-time business challenges, for me HR challenges, to create the direct impact on the business. And you will get to work in close collaboration with the leadership, and which gives you an understanding on how you have to take calculated risks, and take the business forward. That's what the leadership teaches you here. And another thing is that you are relied and trusted upon by your colleagues, the seniors, your managers, in every assignment that you take. So I remember I was just 1 month into the organization, and I was exposed to a lot of plant-wide initiatives, and I was talking independently with various stakeholders. So that gave me a lot of confidence. If I have to explain everything in one word, the journey has been really gratifying, or you can say enriching. Yeah.
Super, great. Nikhil, I want to quickly take a couple of questions that we have received from the audience right now. Aman Deshmukh from GBMS is asking, with this particular challenge, what is the primary focus? So carbon neutrality, net reduction of emissions of greenhouse gases, what is it?
So all of these things are in the same direction. We have asked to come up with a strategy how we can leverage more digital into sustainability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things are components and parts of sustainability. It cannot be narrowed down. See, when you are looking at holistically at any business, you cannot look at it in isolation.
Absolutely.
And if you are seriously committed to the business and sustainability, then you really cannot just put it in silos. So all of these aspects are together. But having said that, I understand it might be overwhelming to look at all the aspects. So we are okay if you are focusing on one specific aspect and come back with very specifics. Even that is okay. It should make more sense. That's very important than being just high level washouts.
Okay, Vipin Nayan has a related question. He's asking, how much should we focus on the technical front and how much should be the focus on the business and management front?
Very good question. I think, because I like I'm also an engineer and then pursued MBA. Many times students do get into this dilemma that whether should I get into tech more or digital more. So see, we are here looking at, or this is a challenge that is for MBA, Masters in Business Administration students, or maybe PGDB. The course name might vary, but largely for business postgraduate students. So we would like to have you. We would like to see more of the business aspect. But having said that, I don't expect anybody to go into technical details. I don't expect anybody to go and write some C# programming or some AI/ML algorithm. That's not expect. If you could do that, well and good. But yeah, that's not something that we would be looking at. So you can think if you were to be sitting in a role where you have to define some strategy for sustainability, how would you leverage various technologies? And which are the different areas where you can deploy? So I gave you one small use cases. You can give 2-3 small use cases, even that would be okay. So don't get into technical or engineering details of it. However, it should not be random moonshots. That's very important.
So I'm going to take a few quick questions before we get on to our line of questions that we were having, Nikhil. Kavit Chadda from MDI Gurgaon has asked, how do we identify the correct target customers in order to do our research, in order to come to a conclusion for the case that you have in place?
So the correct. So see, there are two things. So first, the customer is the business, right? So if you are, so think from a person who is in sustainability role, or somebody like me who is in digital sustainability role. So somebody who is working in sustainability department of a business. For that person, there are maybe two customers if you think from that standpoint. So first is going to be the whole own business. So for me, first is primary, of course, JSW Steel, that there would be various stakeholders, there are land teams, there would be top management. So all of them would be my customers internally, if I think from that perspective, right? Though it is not exactly, when you're looking at strategy teams of an organization, it's not that how it works. And the second would be maybe, if I'm exporting it to certain countries, certain region, there might be certain regulations where I need to comply. There are which, those are global regulations and standards. So they might be my customers. However, for this case study, if I were I were approaching it, I would look at it more from not as a not looking at from customer standpoint, but looking at it more from the top. How, if I am presenting my case study to top management to make a strategic decision out here, what should that be and how it should be driven? So maybe starting from what is it and how it's going to get implemented, something that would be, I think, more effective.
Great, lovely. Sanket Goswami is asking, he's from Accelerate Jamshedpur, he's saying, what are the key digital transformational areas for JSW Steel that it's looking to advance in?
No, we are doing a lot of things. So we are evaluating everything, right? So as basic as implementing L1 automation. So no, that's too.
That's too broad a question.
No, yeah. that's too fast. Because right from there to evaluating Gen AI and evaluating some use cases for Gen AI. So all the technologies that you can think of. So you can focus on something, or that's too broad of a question, right?
Okay, SIVM Pune student Aniket Singh has asked a succinct question, in my opinion. Right now, he wants to understand, in terms of sustainability, what are the biggest challenges right now in front of a steel industry? What are the kind of problem areas that they are looking at?
I would expect a slide on that instead of me giving the answer, right?
So you can give a overview probably. Nikhil, don't give them an answer. I know a lot of people expect that their lives will become easier after watching this webinar. Guys, we do want to help you, but we don't want to give you answers for your presentations. Yeah, go ahead.
So the first thing I would Google the same thing and try to understand. You can use Google or Bing or whatever search engine you want to, or maybe ChatGPT. But hey, making sure that we are sustainable, we reduce our emissions, we manufacture more. So everything, right? Then there are cross-border taxation mechanisms are there. So, and you can read some news, what's happening, some regulations come in, some change, but making sure that there is supply chain continuity. That is again one thing that needs to be there. So you have diverse raw material. So right from coals to certain additives, or everything is there. So a lot of challenges. You should go out, which would be relevant for the case study, and then I would prefer you coming up with this than me sharing the details, right?
Let's make their lives a little more easier, Nikhil. Tell me what will impress you. I mean, what are you exactly looking at?
That's a good question. See, something that I can really go out and implement. Okay. It might be very simple thing. It might be very easy thing, and I'm okay even if they might not know what we already have deployed. Okay, it's okay. So I'm not going to come. Hey, I've already deployed that. So it's not going to be that way. It's going to be a holistic understanding, more logical and structured thinking, putting up or framing business problem that the connecting to the previous question, framing up what you are trying to solve. So without jumping into solution, formulating the problem statement, giving out some methodology that how the problem can be or how it can be approached or solved, and some pathway that how it can be, how in future what can be the scenario. So I'm a very big fan of scenarios. So they can show a couple of scenarios, they can pick a couple of use cases, and yeah. So simple, but making sure that whatever they are saying is doable. And just to add something, I would really like to see which is not false information. It's okay if you say no. Whatever I'm saying it might fail. I'm okay with that. But saying or showcasing wrong sources, that's something that I definitely don't want.
So, Nikhil, you mentioned about future and talking about the future of a selected few from this school who is going to be part of this challenge. Definitely are going to be part of the world of JSW, and I would like to give them a gist of what exactly happens in the early years when you're part of a company like this. So my question to you guys, Jyotsna, and I ask both of you, Jyotsna, you can start and then as you can follow. What exactly happens in the first 1 year, 2 year? Is it like very intimidating when you go in there and do your work, and then you have challenges every day and you have to mitigate and then scratch your heads to find solutions?
Yeah, so Paul, I would start with my internship experience, I would say. So there you get a kind of hand holding, right? In terms of how it happens, right? If you require some data, people would be there to help you out and all, right? And you are providing a solution, you come up with that, right? And okay, and then you'll be asked, okay, is this implementable or not? All these things. So okay, that is done and that is your acumen. But when you are really into the field, right, because you've been given a stint, right? If I talk about my stint, it's been there for I think 6 months as an MT, and I was given the task of increasing the number of influencer for the paints business, and we were quite new there. So we do have our competitors, right, established competitors there, and we were new, and we have to establish our influencer number, influencer network out there. So you might be thinking, okay, all this what I've learned in MBA, right, I'm going to implement, right? But when you are on the ground, all that works in the common sense, or maybe knowing the people, and after a lot of time, it's overwhelming, to be honest, right? And but the thing is that you have support from your manager, you have support from your team, all these things. Then you start building on it. Okay, you start having confidence, right? First you will interact with people and propose you. And to be honest, if I talk about sales, right, your pitching would be really worst for the first few weeks, to be honest, right? And then you'll be saying this, some bizarre things, even about your product, right? And okay, you'll study back and learn again. So after a certain time, you gain a confidence, you gain confidence, and you start building on it and start delivering it. So yet for the starting, it's going to be overwhelming. And then here the process is that first you will be given 6 months to get into the whole process, learn, get some confidence, and then handle something of relevance, right? So I was there I think for 6 months as an management trainee, and then I've been given charge of Bangalore unit for sales, right? And again, the same thing started, but I have done so many things related to sales, business development, training my team, involving myself, day-to-day activities, that I had some confidence there. And then again, now you are accountable, you are responsible for the business. So that's where the real part comes, right? So then, and again, the same thing goes. And I think after a year and a half, then you are quite used to it, and you can say, okay, now I have my confidence and I can deliver something. And then you'll be starting taking a lot of responsibility, extra responsibility. I've taken responsibility of implementing sales for automation project for southern region, right? So because I was comfortable in my sales, core sales job, right? And then okay, let's do something with the data, digital, let's play around with the pilot projects, all these things. So that's how you start building it up from the scratch. So yes, but it's a full of learning and full of growth. And because obviously without getting onto the ground, without smelling the rubber on the road, you are not going to get the confidence of delivering value.
So, thank you very much. As what has been your memorable experience or project that you have taken up that you probably thought was a little challenging in the start, but things kind of worked out?
I think there are so many things, so many projects that I have done or I've been a part of. But to recollect the latest that I have done it was kind of a mix of, I think HR people will relate to it the most. So it was a mix of talent management and diversity and inclusion, where we started a women development program for our junior and middle management. And we designed it in-house, and of course we sought help from external consultants to kind of execute that. It required us to engage with a lot of L&D consultants, assessment consultants, a lot of vendors, mentors, industrial experts, the ex-CHROs of different organizations in the manufacturing setup. So that was something that we have been doing it. It will end in a few months now, and I think we hope to have the first batch out successfully. And if that happens, that could be one of the most interesting thing that I've done, and would be very close to my heart, because that has taught me a lot, not only doing things internally, but also interacting with others, the consultants, and that gives you a lot of rich perspective. So that I think that women development program is something that I can relate to the most.
Super. Aditya Singh from Accelerate Jamshedpur has asked this question, Nikhil, and Jyotsna, you can also pitch in if you have anything to add. How JSW is leveraging the latest technologies such as generative AI and blockchain to streamline their processes in marketing and operations? Anything that you guys can add to this?
Generative AI. So we are evaluating certain use cases, and there are certain aspects that we are evaluating. So few common use cases are evaluating your understanding what are your typical geographies, how you can optimize that. Maybe some bots who can answer the Q&As, or from your websites or apps. Those are a couple of basic use cases. But having said that, these are at very nascent level because AI is still evolving. So we are still working on those aspects and evaluating which are really making sense and which technology would add value to our businesses in future. Again, you have to be careful while using generative AI, because a lot of data gets into open source, the model gets trained on itself, and then so these are the different aspects. That's why there are very little that I can share because we are in an open forum. So, but we are proactively evaluating. These are common use cases, which of course everybody is doing. So I can definitely mention that. But beyond that, also there are certain manufacturing related use cases that we are looking into. Blockchain is something where it actually quite. It's quite so. From in my personal opinion, very personal opinion, it's quite a misunderstood technology that people often go with, that how and where it can be utilized. We are evaluating it in various areas. Sales and marketing is not honestly my particular area. Maybe Jyotsna can share more on that. However, few contracts management and whatever reportings are happening, so collecting data and making sure that data validations are done out there. So these are the few use cases that we are evaluating and putting across for supply chain and marketing. Maybe Jyotsna can put some more.
Yeah. So, Paul, if I talk about the marketing or sales, to be particular, so I did mention our Salesforce automation, that activities on ground, right?
Yeah.
To feel that those kind of technologies, we are leveraging those technologies to have our productivity enhancement at the ground level. Also, there are different data platforms, management systems where we have our CRM system, we have our SAP system. So there are so many platforms and technologies to evaluate data, clean data, right, and delivering that insights out of those data, and controlling from the very nascent level when the data is generated. So there are so many technologies. We are obviously taking leveraging those technologies. And if I talk about that planning and all, right, I cannot say out loud, but yes, there are different technologies we are using for planning work, demand and enhancement like that.
Sure. Okay. ISB student Ephraim Joel John has asked, to what extent has JSW adopted Industry 4.0 and how has it impacted its sustainability initiatives? That's something that I wanted to know from Nikhil as well, in terms of what all are the huge progresses and changes that you guys have made in which businesses, when we're talking about sustainability.
Yeah. So when you speak of Industry 4.0, there are various things go in parallel. So right from basic automation to making sure that data is coming in one place, then the data you are able to collate and create some basic stuff. Now more automation is coming in picture, and then in fact people are talking about, many companies, if you go out, they are talking about Industry 5.0, where reducing manual interventions for safety purposes is taking place. We are also evaluating few technologies, Industry 5.0 kind of technologies and all. See, we starting from very basic, it's a very big impact that we have. Okay, like I said previously, we need to keep on optimizing our business. So it might be manufacturing sector, it might be BFSI, it might be pharmaceutical, or it might be energy or transportation. You need to keep on optimizing your operations. So digital Industry 4.0 largely plays a very crucial role in that. So collecting a collection of data, gathering data from different sources, bringing it to one level. So you might have different automation systems deployed, different right from basics of as basic as converting from a manual meter to or analog. So analog meter is a very past thing, but a manual reading taking to a smart meter which can share some insights. Right from there to using some bots or some advanced robotic systems for the obvious thing that's mentioned in the case study. So these are the broader areas that we are deploying digital 4.0, Industry 4.0 digitalization, and when we are speaking of that, it's pretty evident. So whatever you do, you are reducing your consumption, optimizing your consumption. Responsible consumption is one of the key goals of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs. So you lead to that. One quick point, if I can share, is, there is a difference between digitization and digitalization. And this part, I think, will be helpful. This might be a piece of knowledge that many people will be aware about it. But what happens is, previously we used to write everything in pen and paper. Yeah, maybe say taking all the readings. So you put something on pen and paper data, at particular date, at particular time, this was the reading, and then so on. Now then you started using Excel, right? So you started putting, so from your manual to bringing into that computerized version, or that's where the digitization came into picture, collecting data from sources. So putting in basic automation, pulling in data from your smart meters or machine to your computer was digitization. But now when you have that data, implementation of all of these technologies and making sure that you are making sense out of that data and leveraging data to generate more business value, to improve safety standards, to achieve next goals, is something where a digitalization or digital transformation comes into picture. So this is one aspect that I think would be a definite learning for you from here, I believe.
Great. Thank you very much, Nikhil, for that. Ekansh here on the live chat has asked a question. He's asking, with this challenge, are there any specific geographic locations that are strategically important in terms of JSW sustainability goals? They're from Green Goat JVMS.
Okay, so thanks for that question. I like the name Green Goat. Cool name. Yeah. So, but it's very simple. Google JSW locations, JSW plant locations, and you would realize where we should be focusing. That's our first primary focus. So our plant is located. So the biggest plant, the Vijayanagar, we call it. It's in Bellary, Karnataka. There's one plant in Dolvi in Raigad district. Google it and you would have the locations. Those would be our first areas where I would definitely focus. Apart from that, if you go out, JSW Foundation is actually doing a lot of work, and we are not going on boasting, but there is a lot of work, restoration of really important places, and that is again part of sustainable sustainability implementation. We are also involved in those aspects, which are not at all even nearby any of our sites. So, yeah. Okay.
Nikhil, SG username has asked a very technical question, and I don't understand one bit of it. So I'm going to just reiterate what is being asked here.
Sure.
He's asking, the first deliverable of the case is develop pathways to utilize digitalization in sustainability. Does sustainability refer here to as E, S, and G factors? Or the focus is more on the carbon footprint? If yes, which scope takes precedence? Scope 1, scope 2, or scope 3? Now, if it answers the question that they have to solve, Nikhil, you're free not to answer it. But if it's not, because it doesn't make any sense to me, you can tell whatever can be told.
Good to see that guys are doing some research already. I'm very happy to see that. But as you said, I did say it previously as well, right? So anything and everything you can think of. I'm not going to answer that question because you are kind of asking me what I should be answering. So look, I'll tell you what, there is no right. So I can definitely tell you that there is no right answer or wrong answer. Okay. So you cannot go out saying that I'm not going to report scope 3 or I'm not going to report scope 1 or scope 2. So you need to report everything. You need to, and if you miss any of E or S or G, you are not approaching holistically. However, having said that, I don't expect you to focus on everything and anything. You could do that. You can come up with a complete strategy, or you can come with very specific strategy for one specific focus area. And that's why I've kept it open. Let it be to, the individual's thought process and intellect to define it. So everything. So I mean, yeah, this is something that's everything is right.
So I'm going to give you a little breather, Nikhil. I'm going to ask Jyotsna and Ayaz what they think about taking part in competitions like this. If you guys have taken part in such competitions, what has been your strategy like? Did you also ask the kind of questions that these guys are asking now? Did you also want a solution, an easy solution and kind of thought that, probably this will make our lives easier, because anyway we have so many things to, deal with when we are in our schools.
Yes, of course, Paul. It was a significant part of our MBA journey. Obviously, we were excited, and the prizes and all, right? So the main thing we focused on is the solutions we are the people we are deriving solutions for, right? So obviously, we were not looking for the easy answers, because then our solutions would be unique, right? So the main focus was on the solutions those are implementable, right? As Nikhil mentioned, we can easily implement, because business has been there for, I think, if I talk about JSW, for decades, right? So you just cannot disrupt the whole process but just by putting some ready-made solutions out there, right? So you have to have a solution that could be implemented in a way that is not disrupting the whole business process, right? It is going in sync but making a not significant, some change, right? What we intend to. And other thing is the presentation, right? How we are presenting, right? So if I remember, there was one case study there. I think we have discussed, we had some discussions with the rickshaw walas also, right? So because the solution was related to them, right? So this is, not finding the ready-made solutions out there and implementing it on our current problem. It's going out there, learning about the customers or maybe the business, or the whole the value chain we are providing solution for. And then out of those solutions, look for what is implementable, what is not, and what is disrupting, not disrupting quite a lot, but delivering significant, or maybe somehow business synchronized impact. So that's the way.
As what about you? You being an HR, you probably also understand the importance of such case study competitions. You get to meet a lot of bright minds from different schools as well. What has been your experience? Like being on the student side as well as being on the employer side.
So, of course, we've been there and we have done that, attending all these sessions and, asking questions, trying to get solutions from the jury members. Like people have been asking Nikhil about, various, trying to, get some solutions so that they could win the prize and the PPO and PPIs. That is there from the students' point of view. And if we talk about, of course, I've not been that experienced to, be the judge for any kind of case competition. But to be honest, from my experience at MDI, I would say in HR, the case studies that we used to be a part of, those who win, of course, I've been a part of one winning team, or I was a runner-up once. What we could figure out towards the end, that it's all about showing the facts, talking to industrial experts, getting the data that is correct, so that you have a logic of everything that you are able to present there. The more you are able to relate with the case through whatever primary or secondary research, the more you are able to create an impact. Yeah. And one good thing that, it was not through a case study competition, but I was doing a project in my college, and, this primary research and secondary research was a part of it. And one thing that I, gained from that was the kind of rich connections I was able to make with the industrial experts. The CHROs, the ex-CHROs of the CHROs, head HRs of various organizations related to that particular industry. And the interactions got so candid that they are still a WhatsApp chat or a call away if just in case I need any support. So that is one big takeaway, that I was able to do that, from all these projects and, the competitions back in MDI. At the same time, of course, the more for the students, the more cases you solve, the rich perspective you develop. And when you come to the organization, you have that attitude, or a kind of frame of mind where you can approach a problem and come out with a real-time implementable solution. So
Right.
I think it's a very, very good initiative. And I assume most of the people, I mean, I request and I support all the people who have been a part of it. I wish you all the best, all the luck, and, you come up with as good solutions as possible, and, you create an impact on yourself as well as to the organization.
Super. I'm going to ask a final few questions to you, Nikhil, before we draw close to this webinar today. And a lot of these questions are going to be around some technical terms that, again, probably are beyond me, but probably you'll be able to help them. And the two questions are related to green hydrogen. Ayush Shamle is asking, use of green hydrogen itself is a separate technological intervention. Do we need to evaluate it on technical front or ROI and business front? That's one. Again, it's a related question to what somebody has asked in terms of what the case study should be. Will it be more technological, or it's going to be more business? The other question, do you want to answer this first, and then
if it's okay, I can take this first.
Yeah, sure.
It's a very good question, because see, green hydrogen is a very essential thing when you are holistically looking at a future or green future, right, or a cleaner future. So when you are adopting a new technology, you need to do some benchmarking. Right now, you might not be able to put 100% correct commercial values to it. You would be able to define it, where it's going to be, how it's going to be. However, it's not going to be the exact thing. Maybe 10 years down the line, when technology would mature, that time what it would be or how it would be, we would not be in a position to able to do that. So it's okay if you're not able to do a detailed commercial analysis. That actually is not expected in detail as well. But where does it fit in the larger ecosystem scheme of things? What are the alternatives? What are good, bads, advantages, challenges associated with it? Maybe some light on that, how we can more leverage it better. These are the aspects that we would rather focus on. Any technology, when it comes out, it's like a new phone comes into market, and then it is priced very high, and eventually when it is commoditized, then 1 year, 2 years down the line, the price becomes little 25% or less than that. So something very similar. So I don't expect you to share immediate any commercial analysis or do it in that sense. But yes, some aspects, some approach to it while we do that. If it has to be commercially viable, what are the different key parameters that would make it commercially viable? These are
right. All right. I think this next question is related to the question that we actually answered, Nikhil, but I'm still going to ask you. Mohammad Shariq Hussain is asking, how can JSW effectively balance the implementation of new technologies like green hydrogen power or renewable energy with the need for justifiable business prospects and ROI?
See, there are two aspects. So your question is two layers. So first is identifying technology. So when you start, so you would always start with a POC or MVP. That is a very basic thing. You try and test some models, how it is working out and all. Secondly, you would implement it in a small part of your business. You would see the business value getting added, and then you would eventually grow it. That's how any technological maturation happens at any industry. It might be the early adapters, or it might be the laggards in terms of the industrial ecosystem. That's first. Secondly, there are certain areas like renewable energy. If you do that, it's multi-layer benefit. It's sustainable. It's cost effective. Something that you would want. It comes with government subsidies and benefits on top of your cost benefits. So there is no brainer that you would do that. Implementation, there is a capex. So, and see, I told you the scale of the plant, right? So you cannot turn it around overnight. So it's phase-wise implementation that might happen, but it's the same thing. So like you're implementing the technological approach is the same thing for your green hydrogen or renewable. So it's digital or non-digital technological intervention. Typical technology maturity or life cycle is largely same.
Great. Sorry, Nikhil, Ayush, while we were talking, had asked one more question, and if you can answer that in terms of the green hydrogen that we were talking about. So he's saying the analysis of application like BF injections, etc., will do. That's a question mark that he had.
Yeah, sure. So there are various aspects. So how you can use green hydrogen in which plants? So this is one of the areas that now everybody knows. Ayush, you should think what you're putting. But this is one of the areas that all the holistically, if you put, and it's one of the things that you would find in immediately one of the initial key searches if you do Google. So yeah, this is one of the areas that you can focus on, think of course.
Super. Okay. I think we have kind of covered everything that had come our way. I hope that it was helpful. The session was helpful for people. Before I let all of you go, one quick final word that you guys want to leave our audience with. I'm going to start with Ayaz, followed by Jyotsna, and then you can draw close to this particular webinar. Anything that you want to leave our audience with?
Okay.
Yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, so everyone, I would say that while you're trying to find solutions, okay, don't go with the easy ones, obviously. Try to find something unique, something that could be implementable, something that is not, okay, right now might not be able to get some significant change on the business part, but maybe, even a small change might be a, great thing for the future. So that's something I want to leave you with. And do think that Nikhil mentioned, you have to study the geography, you have to study the consumption also. So where our products are being consumed, if you can take look into that, then I think it's going to help you out in finding little bit in solutions. That's it.
I mean, to the audience, the B school students, just all the best. Give your heart out. I think Jyotsna has covered everything, the technicalities. But I can just motivate you. Just give your best, put your best feet forward, and and you definitely be successful for sure.
Yeah, and I think I'll tell you one thing for sure. I'm not giving too many insights. There is a reason to it. I don't want you guys to be biased. You are fresh out. You would have fresh minds, fresh ideas, which might be completely out of the box. And all the best. It's a whole package that we are looking at. It's not one single slide that's going to make you the winner, right? It's a whole package that we would look for. And we would think it from a perspective where you present it as a case study, and maybe 1 or 2 years down the line, you are implementing it as well. So all the best, and looking forward to the solutions.
Super. Thank you very much, guys, for taking our time and answering some of these questions that probably were in the minds of people. I hope that people listening to this conversation, it was helpful for them in order to get an understanding of what this case demands. I hope that the time that you spent on a Friday evening is well spent, and now you can go ahead and enjoy the rest of your Friday weekend that's there. In case you haven't registered yet and you're thinking about it, do register for the JSW Challenge. The registrations are going to close on the 28th of October, so you have good 1 week's time for you to actually, get a sense of what this competition is. There is a link in the chat box as well in the description. Go check that out. Understand what you have to do. Read well. Don't just make a functional PPT. Make an impact, make it look beautiful, and make it as sustainable as possible. Thank you very much, Nikhil, Jyotsna, and Ayaz. Had a great time. I hope that you do.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks, Ayaz.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.